I'm Chef Gabe, and this is Under the Hood. I have here Kolev Klein, right? One of our contestants from Skillet on kosher.com. This guy's famous. Why? Because of that fried chicken, man. That fried chicken was out of hand.
I always love coming here. I love coming to the winery, especially hanging out with Gabe.
Well, we're gonna be messing around today with a little bit of beef shoulder.
Okay.
And we're gonna make a classic braise.
Nothing better than taking an inexpensive piece of meat and really showcasing it and making it something quality.
This is one of those dishes that, you know, you could set and forget. You could reheat, you could cool it. And when you have a Shabbos meal, right, you know, it's hard to have a warm meal. You know, you can put into a crock pot. You know, we're gonna be using a pot itself, it's set and forget in the oven, but this is one of those dishes that you can serve warm on Shabbos. You have no problem with it.
It'll be nice and ready to go and nice and delicious.
Let's get started.
Let's go.
We're gonna start this dish with a little bit of terracer bacon, and it's our lamb bacon. We're gonna have you cut this bacon for me, and we're gonna render it.
Okay.
We're gonna use some of that fat to brown this beef. I'm gonna season it, and I'm also gonna dredge it in some flour.
Excellent.
So just, you know, seasoning, you know, up high. You know, you want even distribution of the meat, a little bit of salt, you know, a little bit of pepper. I'm not trying to get too crazy, because if we over season now, you could always add.
You always add, you can't take out.
Oh, that's perfect, right? That's what we want to hear, right?
That's what we want to hear.
That's the test. Once you hear that sizzle, guys, you're like, okay, the pan is just right. So once I render this, I'm going to pull all this flavor, the smoked fat, right? We're gonna take that out. We're gonna add a little more oil, and then we're gonna brown our meat. I could only imagine being a lawyer has got to be ridiculously stressful. And I think with cooking, it's just something that you can kind of just control and see the outcome and guide it and nourish it.
For me, cooking is almost like my detox time, where I can relax. I don't have to worry about all the stresses that are going on in the office. I can just do my thing, be creative with what I'm doing when I'm cooking, and it's my time off.
Look at this bacon, man. Check this out, dude.
Let's see what you got.
Look at that,
Beautiful.
right? We got enough fat kind of going on, and this is more for flavor, right? It's almost there, and then we're gonna add some oil. So we have some flavored oil,
Beautiful.
essentially, you know? Put that oil in here in the pan, just a little bit, enough to brown the meat. Because I don't wanna saturate this braise, and then we'll just raise the heat just a tad. The only thing you don't ever want to do is burn the bottom of the pan. Because once you burn the bottom of the pan, all that flavor is going to go into that braise. Once you get that burn flavor, you can't fix it. So I already got some of this meat right here browning, nice and neat.
Looks great.
We're going to add tomato paste?
Tomato paste.
Some garlic chips. We'll just chip those out, and we're gonna need bouquet garni.
Bouquet garni. Looks like we have some rosemary and thyme over here.
And we're just gonna make a little bouquet of herbs, and it's just gonna fragrant the stock in the liquid that it's going in over time.
I'll work on tying that up now.
And then we're gonna have some wine, and believe it or not, some water. Why? Because we're gonna have all this beef flavor. You know, if we add beef stock, which you could, or chicken stock, it would intensify the flavor, but we're just gonna let the vegetables, the wine, and the beef do its thing. After all this browning is done, there's some magic happening in this pot.
You got some lot of flavor in there, all those brown bits in the bottom of that pot, and we're gonna have to get that out and get that flavor into the braise.
Let's add these veggies that you cut. Let's add that bouquet garni. Look at nice, big, chunky vegetables. We want to make sure these veggies take their time to break down. Cube up this little garlic for me, just some garlic chips. And then we're just gonna sweat these vegetables so they just start smelling good. And then we're gonna add our tomato paste and our wine. We're gonna use a little more expensive bottle of wine. You might think I'm crazy, but it's worth it, especially if you're cooking for someone you care about.
Well, the rule that I've been told is that don't cook with a wine that you wouldn't drink.
Exactly. And all those juices that fell off the meat, you want that all back in there as well. I just turned up the heat a little bit more on high because we're gonna deglaze the bottom of that pan. So we wanna get that pan nice and hot.
Going with the full bottle here, right?
Full bottle of wine.
Full bottle of Special Reserve Lake County.
This is for like the cousins you like. We're just gonna make sure that bouquet's in there. We're gonna add liquid to cover.
Okay.
Once this beef stew's come to a boil, we're gonna shut it off, right? Put the lid on. We're gonna stick it right in the oven. We're gonna set it and forget it. The cool thing about cooking is experimenting and trying something new. And I love parsnips.
So you can do lots of things with parsnips. You can roast them in the oven with a little oil, with carrots, or any other root vegetable.
People think they're white carrots in the store, but no, they're not.
There are white carrots.
Yeah.
You have white carrots.
This is just a totally different thing. It's a little bit strainier. So we're gonna cut them in like nice thin pieces because we want them to cook nice and even. We're gonna keep this super classic. I don't wanna like add anything that don't need to be in this pot. We're just adding a little bit of the, finishing with a little almond milk, and then we're just gonna add, I'm talking about a tablespoon's worth of salt. I wanted to just show restraint here. I wanted to just taste like parsnip because we got a lot of flavors going on. We got wine, we got tomato, we got herbs, we got beef. So we want every little element to kind of come together, and when we eat it, it's one harmonious bite. We're gonna top our braise with a little bit of horseradish. We like to pretend it's cream, a little horseradish cream or aioli. We're gonna use an aioli base. So aioli is basically just French garlic mayonnaise. But we're gonna kick it up with some horseradish, so we want some, I love braised beef or a roast beef with a little horseradish finish on it.
That's the classic combination,
exactly.
Beef and horseradish. Sounds delicious. So here's the peeled horseradish.
So we're gonna put this on this box grater, and then you can just put that aioli inside the RoboCoupe. And the only reason why I don't put chunks of horseradish in the RoboCoupe is because it's gonna take forever to cut up, and you gotta kind of like pre-cut the horseradish a little bit. And I like big chunks of horseradish.
Now, Gabe, on Pesach, it's my job to grate the horseradish for the mar on Pesach. We eat the horseradish, but we eat it straight. We eat it raw. So if you're grating horseradish, don't do it on that big one that Gabe's doing now, because you're gonna start crying your brains out when you eat that mar, because it's gonna be really strong.
And it's funny because people don't know how strong horseradish is. It's essentially, wasabi. It's just.
Well, in our family, it's kind of like a tradition that the horseradish should have some bite to it, because the whole point of the mar is that it should have a little bit of a bitter flavor. So if you have the horseradish that's been grated way before and it's left out and really doesn't have a bite to it, then
it kind of loses its flavor.
Everyone's like, well, we didn't do a good job this year. So, but even those big pieces, if you eat that straight, that would ruin your night.
You could smell it from here, right? You could smell it. It's very, very strong. So this is about for about a quart of mayo, maybe, if that. That's like 3 cups of mayo, and we're gonna add about 2 cups of horseradish. And we're gonna add a little more seasoning to it. I think just a little salt and pepper.
And then we can, again, taste it again later, see if the salt is right.
And then let's just let it do its thing. Let it puree, and then we'll get that nice and smooth. Simple, right? All we're adding is 2 or 3 ingredients, and we don't have to go crazy.
I'm getting hungry already. I'm ready to eat.
Cool. So now that we have our horseradish cream ready to go, we're almost there. We're gonna puree our parsnips, cook down nice, perfect, nice and soft. You can tell by just giving them a little touch, and they're just right there, falling apart. Now, I didn't want it to be sauce-like. I wanted it to be thick enough to be a mash, right? So I'm using a slotted spoon. I'm still saving the liquid just in case I'm gonna need some when I puree it. When you're using like a high-powered blender, especially like a Vitamix or something like that, you need a little liquid just to get the puree going. I'd say probably about a cup of liquid.
Okay, I'll grab the braise while you
sounds like a
puree
plan.
that.
Here we go. There we go, nice and perfect, smooth. You don't need to get carried away. I want it to just be nice and consistent.
And smooth.
So let's give it a little taste. You can see it's real nice and pretty. Let me taste. All we want to taste is parsnip. Are we there? Did we achieve it?
Yeah, it tastes good.
So we're gonna have a little bit of this parsnip puree. Well, let's try to get fancy in restaurant about it, all right?
Okay.
So we're just gonna do a little swoosh. Just a little swoosh.
Beautiful.
Right? Just enough, right? Now it comes to the braise. There's two things. You need a slotted spoon. Why? So we can get this
First
meat.
we get out the meat and the vegetables that you want to get out there and plate it up. And then we'll put the sauce on top of it to make it all nice.
Exactly. That's why you're on skillet. I think just a little piece of celery, a little piece of carrot, just to remind everybody, hey, this was in there. This helped make that beautiful flavor, you know. Little horseradish cream. And I like how this is thick enough to just dollop.
Stay on top.
Because we could have did thin and it was just blended right in or melted. Just right on top, dollop. So we're just gonna add a little color.
All right, we got some cream, puree, some of the meat.
Meat fell apart perfect. Look at that.
Delicious. I'm just taking the celery on its own. Because I don't usually keep the celery from the braises. But you told me it's delicious, we're gonna go for it.
I think if people knew how to braise or cook shoulder, they would be using this every shot.
It's so soft and just the right technique to get the flavor out.
Remember, we didn't use beef stock. We used wine and water.
Just wine and water. Delicious.
Awesome, man. Cheers again.
Okay, cheers.
Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.